Hey y'all, the LORCANA grinder here. Today we have a match between Stitch Turbo and the Mami deck. Looks like the Mami player rolls a 9 and the Stitch Turbo player rolls a 8. So it looks like the Mami player is going to go first, shuffling up, doing the final cuts now, figuring out who wants to go first. Drawing their opening hands, doing some mulliganing. Deciding what they want to keep and what they want to throw away. Seeing that pocket watch in the Mami player's hand. Seeing Sorcerer Mickey in the Stitch Turbo player's hand. Stitch Turbo player puts back all 7. Really wants to see that Baby Stitch, the Lantern, or the Rockstar Stitch. The very high value cards in the Stitch Turbo strategy. So looks like the Mami player decided to keep every card in their hand and plays a Pascal Pass. Very strong. Stitch Turbo player Inkwell's Elsa draws for turn. Taps 1 and plays Baby Maleficent. Another very strong turn 1 play. Draws for turn. You can see a Sorcerer Mickey in the Mami player's hand. Inkwell Scar, because it's a high value card. You want to Inkwell those early game. And then 1 jump ahead. Gains a nice Inkwell. And then passes. Chooses not to quest the Pascal, because there is no other character, so it does not have evasion currently. Inkwell's looks like a LeFou. They have 2 Inkwell. Taps the 2 Inkwell to play a Lantern. Very strong tempo card. And then plays a Hey. And then quests the Baby Maleficent for a nice 2 lore. Draws for turn. Puts Develop Your Brain in the Inkwell. Taps 2 for another 1 jump ahead. So a lot of Inkwell. Really quick. Just can they capitalize on all the Inkwell? It looks like they can with the Baby Maleficent. So they can freely quest their Pascal. Right now that Pascal is safe because Stitch Turbo does not play any spot removal. And any Pascal that the Stitch Turbo player were to play would have Summoning Sickness. So they wouldn't be able to deal with anything. Taking a look at the Baby Maleficent. Seeing that it does give them 2 lore every turn. Reading the Be Our Guest. I'll let you look at the top 4 and add you a character card. So they choose to add the Olaf here. Taps the Lantern and an Inkwell for Yzma, and then quests the Baby Maleficent and Hey. Getting a lot of lore very quickly. Untaps the Pascal, looks like. And then draws for turn. Taps 1, 2, 3. Looks like 3 for Medium Maleficent. Get you a nice +1. Replaces itself to make sure you always have that nice card advantage. Plays an Inkwell for another Pascal. Double Pascals are absolutely insane in this matchup. And then they can freely quest the Pascal and the Baby Maleficent, forcing them to have to deal with the Baby Maleficent, most likely with the Hey. But the Pascal's super safe, gaining 2 lore every turn for absolutely free. Inkwell's the Olaf. Looks like they're tapping 1 for Baby Stitch, and then taps 3 for Medium Maleficent. Draws a card. And they have a lot of things they can do. They can Yzma. They could have Yzma'd before that Baby Middle Maleficent to see what their top card was, but they sequenced it differently. So maybe they're looking for the Yzma for a follow-up play. Not as aggressive. Puts LeFou in the Inkwell, so it looks like they have a total of 6 Inkwell if you include the Lantern. So they're about caught up to the Mami player. Talking about how much pressure that Baby Maleficent does. So they can attack Hey into it so that Hey lives. And they can quest the Baby Maleficent to gain 2 more. And the Yzma to gain 1. So it puts them up to... Oh, I forgot about that. In the middle. So it puts them up to 9-4. Looks at the top card. Figuring out what they want. Looking like they might not want it. Might go to the bottom. Thinking a little bit. They got 1 card in hand. And there they go. They do put it on the bottom. passes for turn. Mami player draws. Looks like they have 3 cards in hand. One's a Let It Go, looks like. So they're holding that for a potential Rockstar Stitch. Plays 5 for Ward Aurora. Just applying some nice field pressure. Doesn't really do much in this matchup except for the Elsa, but the Elsa's already Inkwelled. So, and in this build of the deck, you only play 1. So it looks like the Ward Aurora won't really be doing much, but it still is a 2-lore high value character that is on the field. Because right now it's just a race to see who can get there quicker. And they attacked the Baby Maleficent with the Medium Maleficent so that they could stop their ink. Or their lore from getting stronger. Because they are a little bit ahead. There you go, there's the Rockstar Stitch. So, but it does look like the Mami player does have an answer, so it will be interesting to see how they choose to use his Rockstar Stitch. Because they can quest all 3, and they can choose to quest the Rockstar Stitch, but if they don't, they just lose to a Let It Go. And if they do quest, they gain 3 a little bit, which could put them pretty far ahead, because then the Pascals would have to start trading with things, but it looks like they don't do that and they pass turn. But as we know, they have the Let It Go in their hand, looks like it at least. Yeah, so they're just gonna tap 5, probably that'll be their only play this turn, and then just get rid of the Rockstar Stitch. So we'll put the Stitch Turbo player right behind. Oh, they're choosing to sing the song instead. A lot of Inkwell, but with them top decking, a lot of Inkwell won't be really doing much. So they should have really quested that Rockstar Stitch to gain that 3 to play around that Let It Go. And then they can do a Detective Mickey, gain another Inkwell, and then they can freely quest their characters because they're not really super worried about the 3 they're gaining each turn. They do have to catch up a little, but following turn they could probably, depending on what the Stitch Turbo player does, they might be able to just swing into everything and not everything out and just be a plus like 7 on the opponent, which most likely would just be game. So it looks like the Mami player's in the driver's seat. They just have to be able to finish it into the end game. Figuring out what the Stitch Turbo player wants to do. Yzma can just quest to get more cards on the top. Okay, 3. Really forcing the Mami player to go on the offensive here. So they're going to start losing a couple of their dudes. So it probably looks like the Detective Mickey will trade with Hey Hey. The Maleficent will trade with the Yzma. And Aurora will probably trade with Maleficent or vice versa. So there'll be, all the characters will be gone. And then the Mami player will still have the double Pascal to freely quest. Yep, getting rid of all the resources. So now the Mami player has, looks like 1 or 2 cards in hand. Oh, and a Sorcerer Mickey. Completely didn't see that. Yeah, Mami player's completely in the driver's seat. That baby Pascal does do, that baby Maleficent does do a lot though. That top deck was kind of huge. Because they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's not enough. So if they quest, and the next turn it forces them to attack. Well, not really. The Mami player just, I think they just quest everything. Because even on the following turn, if you don't attack anything, there's just not enough that the Stitch Turbo player can do. Yeah, so it just puts them at 18. And then, oh, they're going to play a card for even more insult to injury. Yeah, just let it go. Won't even let them get it. Feels like super bad, but like, the game is just already won by the Mami player. So, we're probably going to see a concession very soon. Untaps, draws for turn, plays a Yzma, and then just looks at the board. Can't really do anything because of all the lore counts, especially just the Pascals on their own just win the game. So a concession will probably be there. Just waiting for them to talk it out. Yep, and there it is. Picking up their cards, 20 lore, that's the game.